Hello and welcome to my initial analysis of the Nerdfighter Census of 2014. There have now been over 100,000 responses. That's what I was waiting for before I analyzed. That should be plenty to be statistically significant in every category. I mean, nobody gets that many responses for anything. Frankly, psychologists should be paying us to do research on you because it's very difficult to get that kind of response rate, especially that kind of response rate that you can trust. And I do trust you. I hope that trust is not misplaced. First, how's the weather? This is a Night Vale reference here. I don't know if anybody got that. Did you feel out last year's Nerdfighter Census? Also, did you fill it out? This was a shock to me. I figured that since 140,000 people filled out last year's census over the course of the last year, that we would have a much higher percentage of yes, but we didn't. In fact, only 40,000 people filled out this year's survey who filled out last year's survey, which means there are 100,000 people who's filled out last year's survey who did not do this one. This is great data. Last time we did this, I messed up. And so that there were like 18 in 2 categories and 13 in 2 categories and 21 in 2 categories. It was terrible. But this is about what I would expect. It's nice to see a fairly defined bell curve there. I think that... obviously high school and college has always been where most Nerdfighters are, but there's also a significant portion that are older than that, which I'm totally down with. I follow Hank on these social media sites. Follow John on... Wow, fewer people follow John. Wait, 90,000 versus 91,000. Never mind. More people follow John on YouTube than me. So there's just more people who skipped this question. I had 5,000 skip my question, and John only had 3,000 skip his question. So, John has a significantly higher number for Tumblr, Twitter, and everything. Let's just be honest. John has higher numbers for everything. Lots of people follow John on Goodreads. What is the first place, other than email, that you go when you sit on your computer? Majority of Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr. I've looked through this, is a very eclectic collection of places that people go. Steam, I just play video games immediately. Wattpad, Feedly, Imgur. I never really thought of Imgur as being a place where I would just go. Netflix, every time I turn on my computer, immediately, I'm just looking at Netflix, watching Firefly. How often do you comment on videos? Okay, this is one of my favorite questions that has been really insightful and interesting to me. So, vast majority are never or rarely. There's the commenters that there are. Most of them are only when I have something super important to say. So the people who comment on every video don't even show up here. Every video, there's 226 of them total in all of Nerdfighteria. I care a lot about comments, and comments are really important to me creatively to get feedback on what we're doing, and I feel like people don't know that. And also, I feel like it's where a lot of the interesting community stuff happens. So what I did say is if you don't, only 898 people skip this question. If you don't comment a lot, why is that? 23,000 people answered that, which I just love. And there's a number of different reasons. I don't think my comments are ever going to get read. I mean, the big ones are, I don't think my comments are ever going to get read. I just don't have anything important to add. I never really thought about it. And then there are a lot of people who... who just don't want to go through the process of setting up an account to be able to comment because of the Google Plus integration and figuring out how to make your YouTube channel and your Google Plus link together. Definitely we saw a huge decrease in the number of comments when that happened, which is really discouraging. And there are a lot of people who said that they felt scared or intimidated or it made them anxious. I don't want to be attacked, the immaturity of other users. And I don't like that. That makes me sad. And I think that's partially because nowadays if you set up an account, you've sort of like oftentimes stuck with your real name, which I don't think is a good idea. And that is weird to have your actual identity tied with your online identity. And yeah, and like I know Vlogbrother's comments when I look at it's like it's not a judgmental place. And I know that that's not the same for all comment sections on YouTube, but I want that to be a safe, fun, cool space for having conversations, for meeting people who are in the community, for, you know, creating. And I believe that commenting is a form of creation, and like I take it very seriously when I leave comments. I want them to be funny, I want them to be insightful, I want them to be representative of who I am, because obviously like my comments tend to get noticed. There's a guy walking by my house. He is mostly naked, but not all the way, so that's good. Just keep on moving, sir. That's fine. You just do your... It's nice out. I understand. Have you ever been to a Nerdfighter gathering? This question should have been phrased differently. Yes, or yes. This should... what the problem was that I didn't allow this to be multiple, so you could only choose one of these, which is not right, because you could have done both of these things. And 80% of people who answered, which is the majority of people, vast majority of people, want to. So 78,000 people want to go to a Nerdfighter gathering. Let's see if we can help you out with that in the coming year. No promises, because I can't, but I want to, but hopefully sometime soon. Where do you get news about what's going on in Nerdfighter area? Vlogbrothers videos, vast majority. Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook. The newsletter, that's good. 20% of people signed up for the newsletter. Thank you. Friends, just hearing stuff from friends. Nowhere. I think that I left some comments here. So like Nerdfighter Facebook groups, Reddit. A lot of people said Reddit to this question. And I just don't feel like there's a lot of people who use the Reddit. Not that the Nerdfighter Reddit community isn't awesome, but when I go there, I just don't see a ton of activity. But you know, it isn't that. Yeah, it's only 1,669 responses. So, yep. How often do you go to these places on the internet? YouTube. Most people go to YouTube all the time, and nobody goes to YouTube none of the time. Facebook, similar but less so. Tumblr, similar but less so as Facebook. And then we start getting into the weird dichotomy ones where it's like either all the time or never. Instagram, frequently or never. Snapchat, frequently or never. Google Plus, mostly just never. WhatsApp, also mostly just never. I don't know what WhatsApp is. I just heard about it, and so I put it in. But apparently it's not that important to you, so... 9,000 people, though. I mean, that's not nothing. And 3,500 people, that's not nothing either. I mean, I don't mean to say that Google Plus, but it's just like, there are only so many interactions I can have in a day, so it is important to me to know where to have them. What country do you live in? US, UK, Canada, Australia, Germany. Germany was a kind of a surprising 5th place for me. You know, I expect all of the ones where they speak English, because that is the language we speak. Not that you don't speak English in Germany. And the Netherlands, people are all very multilingual. And then the first, you know, non-Western country, whatever that word means, is Brazil. So hats off to my Brazilians. And then this is a long list, but it's interesting to see how many of these places there are some people in. So like that get down to one person, and that just keeps going all the way to Afghanistan. There are Afghani Nerdfighters, you guys. Chad, the Seychelles, that's just, it's good. It's good. We don't have any Liberians, don't have any in the Congo, so alas. But we're working on it. Where do you live in the United States? California has the most people. This is basically going in order of the size of the states, roughly. So that's not too helpful, but if we can probably find a way to do that per capita and see where the highest densities are. My guess is that California would still win. Gender, the vast majority, 72% female. So this is not the case, by the way, for Vlogbrothers viewers. It's more like 60-40. So it's interesting that you know, female self-select to be more interested in participating in the survey. And that is something that we've seen generally. While there are guys who watch our videos, they are less likely to come to gatherings, they're less likely to buy Pizza John shirts, they're less likely to identify as Nerdfighters. I don't know why this is, but it is a thing. And then we have 26% male, and then it's very interesting to see. So the it adds up that there's a significant number of transgender, gender fluid, questioning people in Nerdfighteria. By the way, these last two here, I accidentally added them twice, so these have no results. They're doubled, but these didn't appear on the survey. But you can't, in this survey program, completely eliminate things from the survey. I hope you can see my mouse right now. I'm not sure if I turned that on. Race and ethnicity. We are not a very diverse group. 85% non-Hispanic white. And then the second largest group is Latino or Hispanic, East Asian, Southeast Asian, Indian. All these are Asian in one way or another. Black, Middle Eastern, Native American, South Asian. So yeah, I added this question last second, so sorry that it's not a very diverse group of options. There were lots of 4,000-ish people who had other things to add. If you're half German, half Mexican, race is a very difficult thing to try and nail down exactly what anyone is, of course. But I thought that was important to know more about, and obviously it is, and I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. But there it is, so now we know. How did you first hear about Vlogbrothers? Just came across it, but that's only 22%. This is actually a pretty interesting, diverse little group here. So, just came across it. A friend. That's great. That is awesome, and that percentage seems to be getting bigger. And then John's books are number 3. I mean, I know John is a popular author, but it is pretty great that people are coming into this community through his stuff. Don't remember. Obviously, I barely remember. Charlie, specifically, just he's responsible for quite a bit. He's responsible for more than all other YouTubers combined, apparently, which is pretty amazing. Thank you, Charlie. Crash Course, SciShow, Tumblr, and then Twitter is the very last and very most insignificant of those, which will be interesting data for my friends at Twitter. I do have a friend who works at Twitter in audience development, so you will be discouraged to hear that. And then things that are in here. Girlfriend. I'm like, that's what I mean by a friend. I don't mean it has to be a friend. I mean by you were recommended to it by someone whose opinion you respect. That counts as like your cousin, or I guess you're just not friends with your cousin. Upworthy is good. Lauren Fairweather, I assume. Khan Academy. John via the National Book Festival. From Sister Salad. I have heard that several times, that people are like, I was watching Sister Salad, and that's how I found out about you. And I'm just like, really? Sister Salad was a YouTube channel that doesn't post anymore, from back in like 2008, 2007 era. That I don't feel like anybody remembers, but oh well. Check if the answer is yes. Have you ever read a John Green book? Yes, 88% of people who answered this question. So 87,000 people suggested a Vlogbrothers to a friend. That's awesome. That is fantastic. Referred yourself to yourself as a Nerdfighter. 73,000 people wanted to go to VidCon. 71,000 people, you guys. 71,000 people want to go to VidCon just in Nerdfighteria. That is terrifying. I'm sorry that you can't come, but I'm also glad that you can't come, because that would be too big. Suggested Crash Course to a friend. Awesome. Suggested some other thing to a friend. Awesome. Purchased something from us. That is an amazing percentage. 30%. 28,000 people. Oh my gosh. We do send out a lot of stuff, so I guess that makes sense. Read our pants. That's a lot of people. Bought a Hank Green song. Thank you very much. Participated in Project for Awesome. Awesome. Lent money on Kiva. Amazing. 12,000 people. And that's just people who are replying, worn a Pizza John shirt. I'm wearing a Pizza John shirt right now. Check that out. 54,000 people have worn Pizza John shirts. Nutso. Have you ever bought stuff at DFTBA? Check all that apply. Never. 61% of people. And also all those people who skipped the question, we can assume. It was a good experience. Most people. I would do it again. Most people who have purchased. I still wear and display the thing. Oh, that's kind of sad that it's only 28%, but I guess it could have been a long time. I've done it multiple times. There are also 306 people who had a bad experience, so maybe I should just email all of them and ask what happened. I haven't, because you need PayPal, which I can't get. That's unfortunate. Why? I'm sorry about that. You don't need pay. You can just check out through PayPal. You do need a credit card, though. I'm poor. I'm poor. I never have what I want to. I don't have enough money. I lost my Teswigo wristband. You can get another one. I don't have the money. Don't have the money. Don't have the money. I completely understand. Don't worry about it. If you're too broke, just be fiscally responsible. That is the most important thing to me. That you set up yourself for future success so that in the future, then you can buy merch. Also have a happy life. What do you think of Hank Green and the Perfect Strangers and their new album, Incongruent? 100% of people think that it is a masterful work of genius. It was the only option, but that's what it said. Seriously, though, most people, 50% of people said they don't really have enough money. 25% said that they don't really buy music. And there were some useful responses here. 9,000 of them. Saving up my money as we speak. Gonna go buy it right now. That's nice to hear. Never heard of it. That's totally possible. Don't have it yet, but we'll get it eventually. haven't bought it. I will, though. I loved it. Undigested Lump is my jam. So... don't pirate it either. I generally listen to the free stuff on YouTube and Pandora. Yeah, I love it when people listen to my songs over and over again on YouTube. So don't feel like I don't like that. I like that. What Hank and John channels do you regularly watch? 47% of people always watch. No, what are these categories? There's Please Make More, and I watch every video. So the first two basically mean the same thing. So 47% plus 32%. So the vast majority of people watch every Vlogbrothers video. Mental Floss is much more every once in a while kind of thing. Lizzie Bennett is kind of either a you love it or you hate it or you've never heard of it. Hank's channel is you've heard of it for the most part, but, you know, whenever you get a chance. Crash Course, there's a big spike here at people who watch every one of them, but not so big. But most of the people, I think if you added those two together, most of the people would still be in the every once in a while category. But people have heard of it, and nobody hates it, so that's not very many people. Very many people don't care about it, or whatever that category is. SciShow, same kind of deal. And Sexplanations is when we start getting a much higher percentage of people who've just never heard of the thing. So to those people, these things exist and they're great. So Sexplanations is that way. SciShow Space, not a lot of people have heard of. The Art Assignment, which surprises me because I feel like we talk about the Art Assignment quite a lot. How to Adult, huge number, 47% haven't heard of it at all. Emma Approved, 46% haven't heard of it at all. Brain Scoop, it's been around for like a year now that you haven't heard of it. Hank Games, people are sort of ambivalent about the entry like this. Oh, it's just not my bag, I think. Not my cup of tea is what the blue is. So a lot of people is like, it's not my cup of tea. I understand that. It's just a guy playing a video game. I like to think that we're funny and interesting, but that's cool. Healthcare Triage, most people haven't heard of it. Animal Wonders, most people haven't heard of it. And The Warehouse, which is our video produced out of the DFTBA warehouse, is by far the most obscure of Vlogbrothers projects. So if you want to be super indie, you can go check out The Warehouse with Matthew Gatos. Tonight, I'm going to go see him perform, by the way, at Sean Kelly's. He is a pretty badass musician. Have you ever used Subbable? I don't know what that is. I'm so glad I asked that question because I assumed that everybody knew what Subbable was because we talk about it all the time on SciShow. So yeah, 40% of people haven't used Subbable. That means that we need to tell more people about it. No, but I wish I could completely understand. No, it's not my jam. I also completely understand. Yes, it's pretty cool, and yes, these are the smallest percentages, but let me tell you, those 10% of people combined, they are the reason why SciShow and Crash Course exist. We would have had to lay people off and stop making those shows if it weren't for them. So my heart goes out to those 10,000 people without whom we would be ballsed. I couldn't come up with a word. That wasn't the obvious word that I was thinking of. Ballsed, though. Ballsed. It's a new word. No money. Not yet. I can't afford to support others right now. Totally understand. Support yourself first. Again, be financially, whatever the word is. Set yourself up for success. Do not think about us first. Think about you first. What other YouTubers do you like to watch? Add as many as you'd like. Charlie, Dan, And then Phil, I'm sure, is close to the top. Fine Brothers, Vsauce, Hannah Hart, Tyler Oakey, Grace Helvig. This is very, very helpful and very cool, like, to see, because sometimes I think, like, the major overlap is the people who I hang out with, which is like Minute Physics, Charlie. Who else do I hang out with? I mean, all the people in Missoula, like Brain Scoop and Michael Aranda and Sexplanations. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see that there's a big overlap with Jenna Marbles, because I don't think of, Nerdfighter overlapping with Jenna Marbles, but of course her audience is gigantic, so that is bound to happen. Wheezy Waiter is another example of someone who we like regularly collab with and hang out with, but he's pretty far down on the list. So yeah. And Epic Rap Battles, like, it's just because their audience is huge. Like, everybody watches all those. Though, there isn't a big percentage of PewDiePie viewers, and they are the largest. That's the largest of all the YouTube channels, is the Pewds. So, there you have it. And then, like, amazingly, John Cozart and PewDiePie are, like, roughly equal in our community. Not that John Cozart isn't, like, obviously a big deal, but he's not PewDiePie, and he only has, like, 10 videos on his YouTube channel. They're just all very, very good. Love John Cozart, by the way. I've hung out with him a couple times. The reason, by the way, why Rhett and Link, Smosh, and Freddie W down here, again, down here with, like, no people, is, again, because I added them twice, and then I made those 3 of them invisible. They are up here, and they are, you can just pause your video as I do this if you want to see exactly how much overlap there is with all these various folk, and then you'll see that. But, yeah, I was somewhat surprised that there's no overlap with Songs to Wear Pants To. Andrew Huang, who is in my band, or Markiplier, or Mitchell Davis, or Megan Tonjes, all people who I consider, like, very, sort of, like, they mesh very well with what I think of as Nerdfighteria. So, check out those people. And Annoying Orange has tons of viewers, but I guess they're mostly younger than the average Nerdfighter. Did I even talk about age? I talked a little bit about age, but the surprising thing about the age thing was how few people are under the age of 13. That was a surprise to me. We really don't have any young people watching us. And then we have this 36,000 people telling me about the people they watch who weren't on that list, and it's amazing because a lot of these people I've never heard of. And so what's Button Poetry? I don't know, but that just showed up twice. Amazing Phil, PewDiePie, Pointless Blog. I guess I didn't have Alfie on there, but I had those other 2. Maybe people were just tired of searching. Nerds RL, Doug Benson. Don't know who Doug Benson is. Pentatonics. So many amazing YouTubers there, and it's really fun to go through and, like, just find one that I've never heard of and paste it in and then see what it is, because there's so much good content on YouTube, and as the guy who runs VidCon, I am very cognizant of how many amazing YouTubers there are, and I'm always annoyed that I can't support more of them at VidCon, though we do our best. On YouTube, I watch a lot of educational content, funny content, music content. You guys watch everything. The smaller categories are talk shows, television, beauty channels to some extent, and then it's just all big from there. There's a lot of web series viewers, which is great. How do you hear about new YouTube videos? I go to youtube.com/feed/subscription. Still 65% of active Nerdfighters not going to youtube.com. They're going to their subscriptions feed, which is quite difficult to find. If you were wondering where it is, it's at youtube.com/feed/subscriptions. You could also go to dft.ba/YouTube if you want to. And then a lot of people get it without YouTube being in the way at all. So either they'll go directly to the channel page, or they'll get it from Tumblr. Oh yeah, apparently I had that twice. So channel pages and regular visit the pages of my favorite creators, those are the same thing. Sorry. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube sends me an email, which I suggest that you do. How much money do you make? Nerdfighteria on the whole, you do not have a lot of money, which is fine. That is great. I do not care. You are students. You should be worrying about your studenting. What's the highest degree do you have? Again, I could have worded this question much better, especially for all you people who don't know what high school or graduate, like in the UK, you have different systems. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, most people are still in high school, or most people are still in school, so either in high school or college. And these people have a college degree, and yeah, so a lot for. I'm kind of guessing that most of these 41% of people are in college right now. So. Do you make your own YouTube videos? 81% no, so 20% yes, and then 3% of those people actually make them, continually make them regularly, and are currently making them. How many followers do you have? That's pretty respectable, you guys. Not that that's the most important thing in the world, but pretty cool. There's a lot of followers. A lot of our followers have lots of followers. How often do you watch our videos? Whenever there's a new one, good. Whenever I remember to check it out, bad. Whenever I stumble upon one of them, even worse. This is an interesting data point because, of course, these are the people who are responding to the survey. So if there are the people who just watch it when they stumble across one are much less likely to have watched this particular video. So of course there's a much higher percentage of people, they just aren't answering the survey, whereas all of the people who watch every video saw the survey video, and so they are much more likely to be responding to the survey. So that's an example. I don't know if there's a name for that kind of bias, but that is an example of why statistics exists as a science and why you should study it in school. Statistics is fascinating. Study it. When did you start watching Vlogbrothers? 2007. A good 3% or 4% of you. That's so cool. And then the most interesting thing for me here is that the biggest category is 2012ers. So I think we just had a lot of views in 2012. Either that or we had a lot of views that were of content that particularly made people feel like part of this community. And it is interesting to me. I would expect that 2013 would be the biggest category. I mean, if obviously there's a trend here. So I guess maybe we just got more views in 2012, or we just had a bigger impression on people in 2012. Maybe we have less of an impression now because there's just so much stuff on YouTube. But this is that's very interesting data, and and totally cool because it means that people are sticking around as well. It means that those 2012 people are still around, not going anywhere. That quarter of people. So thanks for sticking around. We should post more videos on Vlogbrothers, more videos on SciShow, more videos on Crash Course. I think that's majority for everything except SciShow. Yeah, SciShow is majority the same amount. Nobody wants us to post fewer of things, or for the most part. I don't know why anybody would want us to post fewer videos on Vlogbrothers. Maybe they're just being considerate and they think we're tired. But yeah, I think that we will indeed be posting more videos on Crash Course in the coming year, and I don't think that we'll be posting more videos on Vlogbrothers in the next 12 months, but we talk about it all the time because when it comes down to it, making Vlogbrothers videos is my favorite thing to do. And so if it were up to me, that's what I'd be doing. But there's all these other things going on that are important. Would you read a weekly email update from Hank and John? 70,000 people said yes, and it turns out that there is one. You can also get that at nerdfighteria.com for all those people who didn't know. All you 50,000 people, go sign up. I assume you already did, but if you didn't, go do it. How much would you expect to pay for a Vlogbrothers concert? This is good because we're charging between $15 and $20 for all of our concerts with Hank Green and the Perfect Strangers. So that's actually basically I used this data from last year's survey to figure out that I wanted to get under $20, but over 15. So awesome. And nice to see that there are also people who would pay more, but we won't make you. Maybe we will. If you pay whatever you expect to pay. What would you expect to pay? $40? Thank you. $5? That's fine too. No. We will charge the same amount for everyone. And yeah, so that's great. I apologize to the people who are, 15 and under. It's where the bell curve lies, though. And also, It's basically how much it has to cost to make it sustainable, especially for a tour like we're going on with Driftless Pony Club and All the Perfect Strangers and Harry the Potters, and so it's expensive and everybody needs to get paid. What makes you feel like a Nerdfighter? I think that the vast majority is watching videos. I would like for there to be more like interactive things that people are doing, but of course, like, you can't ask that of everybody. But you know, whatever connections we can make with the world are connections that are worth making. This is a really long video, by the way. Things that you're into, this is obviously extremely diverse and super cool to read. 74,000 responses from people about what they're into. And man, yeah. I am also super into QI, by the way. Yeah, it's just really cool to see, you know, like, I want to be able, and like how diverse it is, really. That there are definitely like Sherlock and, you know, Supernatural and Doctor Who and stuff, and also a lot of books, but the diversity of this is really what's interesting to me right now. This person is very, very, very into Hank right now, so thanks. How much time do you spend on the internet a day? I'm always surprised by how little time you guys spend on the internet. 2 to 4 hours is the peak? Man, I spend more than 8 hours on the internet every single day. But I guess it is where I work. That shocks me. I am shocked. So thank you for giving me your very brief amount of daily internet time. How much TV do you watch per day? None. Nerdfighters, you guys are productive. What do you do all the rest of that time? Are you studying? Are you hanging out with people? Hopefully fun stuff. 'Cause man, that's just, what are you doing? I'm shocked. I don't understand. This is like, if you add up the amount of time I spend watching TV with the amount of time that I spend on the internet, you literally get 24 hours. I guess probably there's some sleep in there too. How many books do you read per year? There are Nerdfighters who read no books per year, but the largest category, once again, was I should have spread it out more, which I didn't do, but still, more than 35. There are 30,000 Nerdfighters who read more than 35 books a year. Nerdfighters are responsible for a significant portion of books purchased in America. Though maybe you know, not all of them are being purchased. They're being passed around, and they're getting libraries and etc. But what John Green books have you read? Looking for Alaska, second only to Paper Towns. 84,000 people have read Paper Towns. I've read at least one book by J.K. Rowling. There are more Nerdfighters have read J.K. Rowling than have read John Green. So that is an interesting statistic. That does not actually surprise me, but I kind of feel like it should, but it doesn't. Yeah, but none of this is very surprising and super cool. Down here, when we get into like science fiction, like I shoved a science fiction author on there, John Scalzi, who just to see, and as expected, you guys aren't big John Scalzi fans, but I tell you what, read Fuzzy Nation. It's super good. Yeah, so this is great. I mean, it's just, like, it is amazing how many of these people have been read by Nerdfighters, and it's really cool. And then this is super fast. Oh, I freaking forgot to put Suzanne Collins on this list, by the way. Sorry, Suzanne Collins. Obviously, you should be on this list. But yeah, really interesting to read this. Douglas Adams, Scott Westerfeld, Sherman Alexie, all favorite authors of mine. George R. R. Martin, Rick Riordan, I don't know how his name is pronounced, but obviously lots of very successful and talented authors on this list. Kurt Vonnegut. I don't know, I'm trying to read more. You can just read Kurt Vonnegut, that's fine. Jodi Picoult, George R. R. Martin, lots of George R. R. Martin. I probably should have put that on the list as well. Yeah, so that's great. That's really interesting to. And then there are Robin Hobb. I have not read a Robin Hobb book, but I keep meaning to because they keep being suggested to me. Yeah, it's just real. And then when I see authors that I've never heard of, then I want to check it out and read what they've written. Feel like it's been suggested to me. There's just so many Nerdfighters. How do you decide what to read? This is an important question for our friends at Penguin. A lot of people, get it from suggestions on YouTube from booktubers. Goodreads, recommendations from friends, obviously is the biggest one. Just browsing is all like the second biggest one, which is crazy. Just going to the bookstore or going to Amazon.com, looking around and browsing. And I do that too. And it's really one of my favorite things in the world is to find a book that sounds really cool, buy it and own it and read it and love it. What are you reading right now? Hitchhiker's Guide, Extras, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Alchemist, all books I've read. I added this question recently, which is why it's been skipped by 100,000 people. Where do you get your books? Amazon, other online places, chain bookstores, independent bookstores, the library. These are all surprisingly equal. Download. I meant this question as kind of a surrogate for illegally download, but I didn't want to say illegally download because then it would be seem very judgmental. But yeah, that's my guess is that's what that means. Because if you're downloading it from Amazon, you would say you got it from Amazon. So 30% of people, which is a substantial number, and I don't judge. I've been there. What causes are most important to you? Can I adjust this to go sort descending? Yeah. Education, number 1. Social equality, women's rights, the environment, global poverty. It's very difficult to choose between these things, obviously. But pennies doesn't make it high on the list. How do you feel about Nerdfighteria? Very interesting and cool to read through these. Just people being very complimentary. Email addresses, going through that so you guys don't see any. And if there's anything you'd like to say to us, 69,000 people had some things to say to us, and let me tell you, for the most part, they are just lovely and extremely complimentary. Maybe a little too nice at times, but also sometimes, constructively critical, which I appreciate. And just very thankful for having so many smart and dedicated and interested people in this community. So thank you all for that. Yeah. Please go on a Nerdfighteria centered tour again. Not that your music tour isn't great. What? You just want John. I know it. I know what's up. You just want John. So yes, we are figuring out how to go on tour. The problem, a little bit of the problem, is that John with The Fault in Our Stars is now popular enough that if we go on tour, we can sort of, let's just talk about this. We can sort of choose to do one of two things. We can either go places, make tickets for sale, and have them sell out instantaneously, and do 200-person venues where we can do a signing line and take pictures with people. But then 90% of people who want to go don't get to go. Or we can do things where we go and we do 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 person venues, depending on the size of the city, or even more than that. And then a lot more people get to go, but there's just not, logistically, it's not possible to do a signing line. So that's what we're running into as we're thinking about planning the 2014/2015 tour to Nerdfighting. If we're just very in the cursory stages of planning that, but that's a challenge because I like the 2010 Tour de Nerdfighting style thing where it's not very many people, and that was really great. But I don't want it to be super exclusive and cut people out because they didn't happen to see the video at the right time and feel super left out. And so yeah, that's the struggle, man. It's a great struggle to have, and yeah. So, but it is something that we're dealing with. But yes, that was the 2014 Nerdfighteria census, responded to by over 100,000 people so far. There's still surveys coming in. I think we've got 1,000 of them already today. So thank you all so much for participating in that and for being a part of this community and helping us imagine you complexly.